This is the Radioactive Decay Lab, and in this lab we're going to be simulating radioactive decay using six-sided dice. Now, you cannot predict when an individual atom is going to decay, but we can make very accurate predictions about a collection of atoms, about when they will decay or how many will decay in some amount of time. And so what you're going to be doing is rolling 100 dice, and every time one of them comes up as a 1, you're going to remove it, and then you're going to roll the remaining dice. Okay? Now, if you don't have 100 six-sided dice, that's okay. You can use a small amount, like if you had, say, 50, you could roll 50 once, do the count, and then you could roll 50 again, move there, and that'd be 100, okay? And then you would figure out how many are left and so on, and then continue. But if you don't have enough dice, or you just don't want to use the dice, which is understandable, it takes a little while, you can use the online simulator. I'll show you how to use that here in just a little bit. But the idea is you're going to take the dice, you're going to roll them, and every time one of them comes up as a 1, you're going to remove it. That's going to mean it decayed. Now, right now in this roll, none of them came up as a 1. So I'll roll again, okay? And hey, what do you know? Once again, none of them decayed. This is how it actually happens. Okay? Even though I've got a bunch of dice here, it took a while before any of them decayed. Finally, I got one that decayed, okay? And so it came up a 1, and so I remove that 1. Now I grab the remaining, and I roll those. Any that came up 1, 2 of them came up as 1s, okay? So I remove those, and I roll the remaining ones. And of course, as you're doing this, you need to record the data. How many did you remove? How many, so in other words, how many decayed? And then how many didn't decay, okay? And that's the kind of data you're going to be putting in your data table. By the way, we picked the number 1 because we felt like that was the easiest one to just quickly identify as you're glancing at all the dice. It doesn't have to be 1. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. If you want to use a different side of the dice, that's fine. You just have to always use the same one. You always want to use 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Again, I recommend 1 because that's the easiest one to identify just by sight. But that's all there is to this lab. After you've collected the data, then you have to analyze the data. We're doing that using Google Sheets. I'm also going to go over how to do that in Google Sheets. But first, let me show you about how the simulator works. So here is the lab, and you can see the data table. And I want to point out that the data table contains columns for your data, but also the instructor's data. Why is the instructor's data there? This is because you're going to combine your data with the instructor's data to get the class data. And the reason why we want to do that is because our exponential decay laws work better if we have more atoms, or in this case, more dice. Right? With smaller amounts, the exponential decay law won't match up as well with the experiment in general as it will if you have more. The more you have, the better the exponential decay law is going to fit the data. And so that's the idea here. And you're going to do all that on the Google Sheet. First, though, of course, you need to get your data. So here in the instructions, in the second line, you can see in blue, it says Dice Simulator. If you're using your own dice, you don't need to worry about the simulator. But if you're not, then you need the simulator. So click on the Dice Simulator, and it brings up this website, random.org. And unfortunately, this website, you can't roll 100 dice. So break it up into 2 rolls of 50. So do 50, and then just hit Roll Dice, okay? And then just count all the ones that are 1s. So in the first row, it looks like I've got 3 1s. Second row, I've got 4 more, so that's 6. And then 7, 8, 9 total after 3 rows. And then it looks like 10. So I'm going to write that down. So I've got 10 from my roll of the 50 dice. And then I'm just going to roll them again. Okay. And then count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more. Okay, so that's 20 dice that came up as 1. That means 20 that decayed. All right, so then come back over here, and 20 decayed, that means 80 did not decay. That's what N is. It's how many have not decayed, how many are left. So 80 did not decay, 20 did decay. So there we go. Okay, now got to go do it again. Roll the dice again, count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wow. Okay, so 14 in this batch. So I've recorded that, written that down. And then, now I only have 80 total that I need to roll. I've rolled 50, so I need 30 more. So I'm going to go back and change this to 30 dice. Roll the dice, count the ones. I get, looks like just one. Just one. So 14 plus 1 is 15. Okay, so 15 minus 80 is 65. 15 here. Okay, and now you just continue this process over and over until you have filled in your data table. And if on one of these rolls, and you can see in the instructor's data, it happened down near the bottom where on roll 16, none decayed. Okay, so you just put a 0 for R, none decayed. And N consequently isn't changing. And if N ever becomes 0, then you put it in a 0, you're done rolling, but you do want to finish filling out the whole table. You would just be putting zeros, down for the rest of it. But that's what you can do. And you can see, by the way, in the instructor's data also that, got stuck on 1. Could never get rid of that last one because you can't predict when that last one is going to decay. That happens sometimes. You just roll and roll and roll. It doesn't decay. Okay? And that's fine. You're just collecting the data. And then once you've collected the data, you want to put that data into your spreadsheet. Now, unfortunately, you are going to have to enter your data by hand into the spreadsheet. But the instructor's data, you do not have to enter by hand into the spreadsheet. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So you need your spreadsheet. You need your Google Sheet already open. So make sure you've already got a Google Sheet open. And then all you want to do is really just select, just highlight this whole darn thing, copy it, come over here, there we go, yes, paste, there we go, and it puts it right in. And you can see it puts all of the instructor data in. Basically all the data that was already populated into the data table has made its way over into the spreadsheet, but none of the data that I typed in is here. So you will have to type your data, all your N values and R values into here. Apologies for that, but you don't have to type the rest of it. Like I say, you can just copy it over as I just did.